feel like I hacked it, you know, from YouTube, in it pretty hard, pretty tough. Put in those hours, put in that YouTube dedication. I put rocks underneath the drain. Water's gonna seep through the tile, gonna seep through the grout. Your second layer of defense is this membrane that goes all the way around. The hack with the mortar, put more than you think you're gonna use, and dump it in crumbly and keep it crumbly. Kind of chop it up as you're moving it around. Chop up any big pieces. I eyeballed the slope. I'm eyeballing the slope right now from a line that I drew around as I measured 1/2 inch of grade per foot. I'm gonna have to pay attention to the tile height and how that's gonna come, but we definitely want the tile slightly above the drain, you know, because everything, you want it to go down. Keep it crumbly, spread it while it's crumbly, spread it into place, I think, and then pack it down. And then after it's packed down, then we're gonna get the level out and scrape the top off and discard it, really get rid of it. Hey, one more thing. You're gonna notice that there's no concrete board up right now. And if you watch a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of them put the cement board up before they put this layer of mortar. That's problematic. I'm being real careful not to hit the membrane, just real slow, gentle drags. And when I pack it in, I'm gonna have to pay extra attention to not stab the membrane. We want the cement board to go in front of it, and also we want the tile to be able to go under the top layer of tile. We don't want the cement board in the mortar, because then water is going to absorb up the cement board up into your wall, right? You want a gap, you want a space there so that everything drains onto the bottom tile, into the mortar if needed, and down into the weep holes. This is going to get wet, there's no way to avoid that. And if you stick that cement board right down in there, it's going to absorb up the cement board and you're going to get mold in your walls. I just want to big up some DIYs and some pros right now, because you know what really separates us is like if you're staying current with the knowledge. But if you're a pro and you're like, I got my way of doing it, and then you just always do it that way, and then you look down on DIYers, your responsibility more than anybody's to be the most knowledgeable in your field, you know? It doesn't really matter where you're at. It matters if you're getting it. It's so easy. It's more forgiving than I thought if you understand the mortar and how it wants to be touched. So there wasn't enough mortar in here in 2 bags to meet my line. So no problem, I measured the drain 1.5 inches up. Big deal, I just twisted the drain down, just down as far as it would go. If I wanted to go down further, I can dig out some of the bigger rocks that I put in there to protect the weep holes. I can dig those out and even twist it down even if I want. I was able to get a significant amount of twist, maybe drop it 1/4 inch, and that won me more mortar to work with. tools that were used. This was initial spreader right here, just to like put everything in place nicely. And then once everything was in place nicely, this was gently pushing everything down in place. You can't lean on it with your hand until you get to this stage right here. At first, after you spread it all crumbly, you can't touch it. You can lean on the drain if you want. But then you gotta use this, and you gotta push it down very gently, right where it sits. You know, try not to disturb your slope. And then I pounded it with this, because my downward pressure wasn't enough to lock it into place. And then it left all these grooves in the shape of the board. So then I went back to this, I guess it's called a trowel, pushed away all the grooves, and then you could see the moisture exposing. You could see like the water rising from beneath the mud. Oh, when it's done right, it's so good. It's so good. You can screw up a lot with this thing. It has to become part of you. You have to, every little angle has to be just right, or you make a mistake and you have to go back and push it back down again. I got cocky some of the time, and I probably poked the membrane a little. I don't know if I made any holes, but I definitely hit it. Everybody should spread mud. I think those bags were under $6. A gallon of water, $10. $10, right? Just go spread mud, you guys. Just go spread mud. It's a pleasure. Alright, so we're killing it right now. I'm so happy about this mud situation right here. It's hard. It's perfect. It's not crumbling. I think another thing I did wrong with the first layer of mud was I didn't pack it down right. But this is perfect, super ideal. So now it's time for the backer board or the hard board or whatever. And I'll tell you what was here. By the way, I don't know if you caught this in the beginning of the video, but you're supposed to be able to see pink or blue through these cracks. Israel didn't, sorry to mention you by name, Theo Wes, he didn't water guard the backer board before he put the tile. Anyways, so right here we have an 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch of this plastic membrane plus my screw job. I'm gonna use thin backer board to make sure if anything's slightly behind what's above it. We don't want it to stick out because that'll give more options for moisture to get behind it. I'm gonna be measuring about the width of 2 tiles, a space for a tile, space for some grout, and space for some thin set. So I think about the thickness of 2 tiles should do that. I'm gonna measure from thickness of 2 tiles up to here, put in the thin backer board. Yeah, so I think right now is a really good time for me to bless up my teacher, Bob Doyle from Star Tile, and I think you're in Atlanta. Thanks, dude. All your videos like totally made me confident and made me feel capable of doing this. And you also showed me where everybody else goes wrong. You know, some credit to you. So thanks for sharing that info. Thanks for not being so proprietary with your knowledge. Thanks for giving it out there. We're putting in the backer board. Get your backs ready for the backer board. We're backing it up. We're putting the board in the back. We're screwing it in. I don't think I'm using the right screws for the backer board, but I'm putting a layer of thin set over that. So that should mediate the fact that the screws aren't sinking in all the way. I don't like the backer board screws because this thing doesn't slide over it. So I'm not using the right screws. But fucking DIY, that's what it's about. Make it up. Do it any way you want. Do it a little shitty, but be happy about it. Another thing that I did, I don't know if you can see in the video, but I marked where the pipe was behind it because these tiny screws, if they go through the backer board, there's still plenty of space for them to hit the pipe, and I don't want that to happen, especially after all this work. So I know where my pipes are, so I'm not going to screw into them. Make sure you take the same precaution. Even if it's a copper pipe, I bet you could still puncture it with one of these. You hit it dead on. I got one PEX pipe back there and one copper pipe. I definitely don't want to hit the PEX pipe. Blah! This is how we do. This is how we fix shit. Get on into find something to fix. If we fix our exterior environment, it will reflect upon our internal selves. This is encouragement to fix what you can see. I'm pretty sure it'll have an impact on your internal environment. So fix what you can see and the rest will follow. I don't remember when I was big up in Bob Doyle from Star Tile, did I mention how good his music is that he plays throughout his videos? Yo, dude sounds like, you know, if I was gonna judge a little bit, dude sounds like an older, maybe conservative, mainstream sort of fella. But the music he puts on his YouTube videos is like, whoa, who is this guy? Like, anyways, Bob, you know what's up. I'm sure you don't need me to tell you that. Yeah, so Bob Doyle, Star Tile, get on that. He's the real guy you want to be watching. Hopefully you're watching this just because it's funny. Anyways, we got all the backer board in place, all the cement board is in place, all over. It's time to lay the first layer of thin set. Follow the directions on the bag. That's what you do.
Yana wana yo, yana wana yana yo, yana wana yo, yana wana yo, yana wana yo, Sochiko, yana wana yo, yana wana yo, yana wana yo.
Tried to cover my mistakes with the cement board with the thin set, put a nice layer, painted all the red guard, several coats, especially in the corners. Dried really fast, that was really nice. Alright, so now we're tiling. Now I'm cutting the tile and laying it down. It's about as straight as I am. I'm putting on the tile now. It's all come down to this moment. I got a really kick-ass tile cutting setup. I really want to show it to you. do this. First things first. Supposed to use this thing, right? Those grooves, 45-degree angle, create a certain thickness, stick the tile, wiggle it back and forth. It's not working for me in these little spaces. I imagine it works great for big spaces, so I'm just spreading it on the tile and slapping it on there. Just applying the pre-mixed thin set to the tile. You want to give it a certain thickness, and then I taper the edges because as we push it down it's going to squeeze out. It doesn't matter if you line it up right now because you're going to move it around a lot, you know? And then push down a little bit and then get your spacers in there. Right? And then I got this goop sticking out the side, so I'm gonna scoop it out like that. It's probably not the way you're supposed to do this. Probably the worst way to do it. I like the mix your own thin set better because it doesn't dry as fast. This pre-mixed thin set tile adhesive dries kind of fast. And then as soon as you get those spacers in there, you want to push again, and more will ooze out, and you got to scrape it out because you got to make space for your grout. Totally the wrong way to do this, but you know it's working for me right now, and it may be messier and it may take me longer. I think it's probably perfect, but I'm not going to worry about that just yet because I'm going to use my level to push flat against it. And you know what? That's luck right there. That's luck. That's pure video luck. I mean, it's just laying tile. You do it. It's fun. Who cares? I mean, just do something, you know? Stop watching this video and fucking measure something. Do your best. Just do it. Just fucking start doing it.